The following is a totally accurate plot summary of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, artistically depicted with the help of artificial intelligence. Spoilers. Possibly. But probably not. So, 100 years ago, Link and his 4 friends went to hang out with this super evil demon guy. But he was being a super bitch and started beating people up. So halfway through this friendly get-together, Zelda used her superpowers to zap Ganon, which is this evil guy. Anyway, but not Ganon, but Calamity Ganon, because I guess the get-together was called Calamity or something. A little unclear. But is this actually Ganon? I don't know. Really, the connection is kind of a bit unclear of whether this is Ganon or actual Ganon, or if there is even a Ganon anymore. Who really knows? Anyway, so midway through the fight, Link got tired and just decided to take a nap. He was super sleepy, so he slept for 100 years. But, right after he fell asleep, a couple of guys decided to play this super awesome prank on him by throwing him into a cave atop this mountain on a giant, hill, plateau, mountain, mesa thing, whatever. I have no idea how they got up on that mountain, by the way, carrying a third person. But all in all, it was a pretty good joke, and everyone seemed to like it. So anyway, Link wakes up, and he's like, whoa, what's going on? This isn't where I fell asleep. So, come to find out, he's on this huge flattened mountain thing. It's a plateau or a mesa or whatever. Geometry's not really my strong point. I think it was the Grand Plate. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty Japanese to me. So, yeah. Anyway, he goes off wandering, trying to figure out how to get back home, and he finds some creepy old dude. And the old dude's all like, go do some shit for me. And I'll totally give you this kite that couldn't possibly carry your weight, but totally will, so you can get off this cliff thing. So Link is all like, dude, I fucking love kites. And he goes off to these 4 shrines to pray to them or something. I don't know what we're supposed to do at these shrines at this point. But, anyway, it turns out, these shrines are just like Takeshi's Castle. In America, do you guys remember Takeshi's Castle? In America, it was called MXC, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. It was a great show. They had that boulder running away thing where a castle threw boulders at you or something. Then you had to run across this river of acid and not fall in and die a horrible death. Such a great show. Oh, right, Zelda things. So you gotta solve some puzzles or something at these shrines, or fight one of the shrines. I don't know, in order to get these magic orbs, right? So Link gets the orbs and goes back to the old man. And Link's all like, a puzzle game, give K. And the old dude's like, and he just runs away with the kite, just like a little bitch that he is. So Link chases him to this rundown church. The old man's all like, hey, I'm on the roof, come up here. But he's super creepy about it. So hey, I'm on the roof, come up here. And Link's just like, whatevs, I'm totally down with old dudes. So he climbs up there. But turns out this old man is all Fifth Sense and he's been dead the whole time. What a twist. But anyway, he's the old dead king guy. And Link was a super famous knight that worked for the king, protecting Princess Zelda and stuff. And for some reason, he totally didn't recognize this king at the time, even though more than likely, he knew the king pretty intimately because he was a personal bodyguard to his daughter. But anyway, he's all like, oh, Link, you have to kill Ganon and save my daughter. You're our only hope. And Link's just like, fuck you, dude. Where's my goddamn kite? So the king's all like, fine, take the damn kite. And he disappears. Never to be seen from again. So anyway, Link jumps off of Super Great Mesa, or whatever it's called, and splats on the ground dead. Because it's a goddamn fucking kite, not a parachute. Alright, I get it. In a world of swords and sorcery, a magic kite that can support a person's weight isn't all that extraordinary. So fine, he has a magic kite. You happy? You happy he's got the magic kite? So anyway, Link makes his way off the mesa and heads over to Hyrule Castle. He just realized that he left his lunch there like 100 years ago, and he's super hungry. So somehow he dodges all the monsters in the land and just heads into the castle to get that sweet, sweet tuna salad sandwich he's been craving for over 100 years. Well, he finds some sweet-looking clothes on his way there, and since he's a fashion aficionado, he decides to make it his life's dream. Step 1, obtain clothes. Step 2, find a place to live. Step 3, just hang out. Well, Ganon shows up while Link is trying to make super hard and incredibly important life decisions. Like, what is with this guy? Doesn't he realize Link has way more important things to deal with? Anyway, Link really likes Ganon's fit, so he decides to go ask him where he can also purchase such quality threads. And Ganon's all like, "You a bitch," and just pimp slaps that host so hard that his head flies off. So Link awakens outside the castle confused, and not remembering anything that just happened, and decides to head into the castle to get his sweet, sweet tuna salad sandwich. He comes across Ganon again, and he's all like, "So you have revived and dare to challenge me again?" Link's all like, "What? No, but that's a cool fit. Where'd you get that?" And Link wakens outside the castle again with no memory of the previous 2 times. This occurs quite a few times. Until finally Link awakens again somewhere outside of the castle with no memory of going in the castle and is left with a simple sense of foreboding. For some reason, he feels he shouldn't go to the castle yet, and maybe he should go talk to his friends from like 100 years ago. So Link visits the reverse fish people of Zoradora and asks for some help finding some new sweet threads to don. They bring Link to the king, as they do all outsiders. The king is a super fat fish dude, but he's all like, "That's a sweet kite." He gives Link some sweet blue and silver armor and sends him off on a quest to find the rest. Wrong! Come to find out, their princess is gone too, and the king thinks Link has such a sweet kite that he should be the one to save the princess. Well, Link just ignores the king and skips away to find the rest of his delicious armor. He finds one piece in a treasure chest on the bottom of the lake. Not the one piece, just one piece of his armor. And the last piece he had to take pictures of a horse line to get. I don't know, it was really weird. Anywho, Link goes and talks to a big elephant. And the elephant's like, "Dude, that's a sweet fucking kite. I'm totally gonna help you get that tuna sandwich." So the elephant climbs a mountain and shoots a laser beam from its trunk at the castle where Ganon is. Link wanders off, ignoring the strange creature. Finding Zoradora too wet and far too many weird fish people hanging about, he decides not to live there. So next, Link heads off to the Mountain of Death. He wants to talk to the rock people there, but it's like hot there. Like so hot, like clothes catches on fire hot. And I hate hot. I mean, I'd rather be cold than hot. I mean, you can only take off so many pieces of clothing to cool down, but you can always put on more clothes to keep warm. In order to cool down and survive the place, that's right, you guessed it, Link finds some totally badass red glowy keepy coldy clothes, and that for some reason look incredibly warm. Yeah. So anyway, Link meets some strange round rock men, which wasn't really important to the story, so he ignores him, and finds a giant beetle, kicks it so hard it starts to shoot lasers at the castle. Deciding that's a job well done, Link decides to head on out and get the fuck out of that hot place, and go hang out with some birds. One of them was a massive dick. The bird people sell him some awesome warm clothes, like there's like fur popping out of the neck and the arms. It's super sweet and totes adorbs. While wandering about Bird City, Link finds a prehistoric pterodactyl. The pterodactyl loves Link's kite too. I mean, he didn't really talk or anything, but you could just tell that he loved. Anyway, he convinces the dinosaur to shoot laser beams out of his butt at the castle. Link finds the bird people weird and the place too cold, so he leaves, off to search for greener pastures. Link finds himself stuck wandering in a hot desert. But like a different hot than Death City population mountain town, Link wanders about fighting ninjas because why not at this point? He stumbles across an oasis just as thirst was about to claim his life. They're selling some super sweet desert clothes, a few different kind of sets even, so like lots of dope ass threads. This one set was like super pretty and bejeweled and a little skimpy, showing off a bit of skin. Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta pause here. Of all the AI art I did for this little show here, this is the most cursed one, and I feel we need to pause on this so you can enjoy it in its entirety, like I've had to stare at this for the past week. Ugh, it's hideous and awful and amazing, and I hate everything and love everything about it. Anyway, back to the story, sorry. His journey continued through the desert, riding desert walruses, as you do, until he came upon a city. It turns out, like Link, they only like the ladies. So it's a totally great thing that Link accidentally cross-dressed. So they just went ahead and let him in. In the city, he meets a little girl, and she loved his kite and wanted to spend days talking about it with him. But Link wasn't really interested, so he pretty much ignored the little girl. Instead, he wanted to see the famous giant camel everyone was talking about. So he hopped back on his walrus and headed out into the sands. The camel was super cool, and he loved tuna fish sandwiches just as much as Link. So he shoots red laser beams at the castle too. The camel didn't really care for Link's kite. Link was annoyed by this and decided to never see the camel again. With all 4 beams shooting up the castle, it looked like an electronic rave party. Link figured he'd just head out east of the castle since there was still that sense of foreboding coming from the castle that Link couldn't just quite place. He comes upon a town where his old master used to live, but she wasn't interested at all in Link's kite. So Link took all the clothes in town and hightailed it the fuck out of there. The next little village he came across was quite nice, homey even. Link decided he'd buy a house here and settle down, maybe forget about the tuna sandwich. But the housing market was insane. Link couldn't afford a house on his meager salary of nothing, so he searched the world for a plan. It had been a while since he had visited those shrines he was told about by the creepy old man. Perhaps they have treasure in them, he thought. So Link went off in search of a shrine. He came upon many shrines, actually. Some of them contained fierce enemies he had to battle, like that lamp-spinning sword guy thing, or the tiny mechanical spiders, which were obviously controlled by small rat-like creatures. One of the shrines was this huge maze, which was obviously for little babies, and Link never got lost in there at all. So Link went through the maze with complete ease, of course. And sure, the shrines held within them various treasures, but none that could really help Link get that sweet cottage life. He eventually found himself back in the wintry lands of the bird people. He came across a man with seemingly infinite wealth, living out the dream in a cozy log cabin. And he was betting with passerbys on whether they could knock over huge bowling pins with snowballs. Well, Link just happened to be a hustler at Snowball Bowling Pin Getter Downies, as it was called. So he hustled that dude for days until he was rich as fuck, boys. Hell yeah. He then went back to his nice village in the hills and bought his house. He got all sorts of sweet house upgrades and started a peaceful life with no worries. But the hordes of people that would show up each day finally got to him. Day after day, they wanted him to get that sweet tuna sandwich. Link didn't really understand why everyone was so obsessed with his lunch. But day after day, people kept pleading with him, "Please, Link, you must go to the castle, defeat the blah, 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 blah." Fine, he finally said, and left off to the castle. Upon his arrival, he saw all the lasers still shooting up the castle. He figured, that stupid beasts were trying to help point him in the direction of his beloved sandwich. Heading up to the throne room, Link runs into Ganon again, or for the first time, and Ganon's all like, "Come back again for more? You and that shitty kite." Link doesn't know what he's talking about, but that kite comment hit pretty deep. The laser beams all of a sudden converge on Ganon, and he's weakened somehow. Link slashes at him a bit, and then Ganon just gets tired and takes a quick nap. Until he turns into a giant smoke pig creature. And Link is magically on a horse. So he shoots some arrows at Ganon, and the smoke just kind of goes away. And then, just out of nowhere, Zelda appears all youthful-like. "What up, bitches?" she says. Link gives her his kite in hope of getting a little of that, if you know what I mean. She may be over 100, but she thick as fuck. But Zelda was all like, "Cool kite, thanks." Link is all sad and decides to follow Zelda around in hopes she'll return his super sweet kite, but she just crumbled it up and threw it away. Right in front of him. He never did get that tuna fish sandwich, though. Left alone for 100 years. Mayo dripping lightly out the side. Link's one and only regret. Sandwich. The end.